was a Wednesday night. Nothing special. Just another late-night browsing session. But within 30 minutes, I witnessed something on my screen that made me lock every door and window in my house. Something that made me unplug my router and sit in complete darkness for 3 hours straight. Something that I have never told anyone about. Until today. My name is Ethan Cole. I was 23 years old, living alone in a small apartment in Chicago. I worked a boring 9-to-5 data entry job during the day, and at night I was just another guy on the internet looking for something interesting to watch or read. I was never the type to believe in conspiracy theories. I was never into horror movies. I was a logical, practical person who believed in facts and evidence. So when my coworker Jake started telling me about the dark web one afternoon during lunch break, I did not take it seriously at first. Jake was the kind of guy who loved talking about underground stuff. Secret societies, government conspiracies, hidden websites. Most of the time I just nodded and ate my sandwich. But that day he said something that caught my attention. He said, "Ethan, I am telling you there are websites on the dark web where you can watch things happen in real time. Things that the government does not want you to see. Things that normal people are not supposed to know about." I asked him what kind of things. He just looked at me and said, "Everything." That night I could not sleep. That one word kept echoing in my head. Everything. What did that even mean? I kept telling myself it was nothing. Just internet urban legends. Just creepy stories people make up to scare each other. But curiosity is a dangerous thing. And mine was already wide awake. At around midnight I finally gave in. I downloaded the Tor browser, followed some instructions I found on a forum, and within 20 minutes I was in. The dark web loaded slowly, like the internet was hesitating to let me through. The first thing I noticed was how different everything looked. No colorful websites. No advertisements. No familiar logos. Just plain, dark, text-heavy pages with strange addresses that made no sense. For the first hour I explored carefully. I found some illegal marketplaces, some hacking forums, some strange political groups. Nothing that made me feel physically sick. I was almost disappointed, honestly. Maybe Jake was exaggerating after all. But then I stumbled onto something. A website with no name. Just a black page with a single countdown timer at the top. Red numbers slowly ticking down. The timer showed 47 minutes remaining. Below the timer was a single line of text that read, "The next auction begins soon. Highest bidder takes everything." I had no idea what was being auctioned. There were no pictures, no descriptions, no categories. Just that timer and that one sentence. And a chat box on the side where users were already talking. I scrolled through the chat. Most messages were just numbers. Bids maybe. Some were in different currencies. Bitcoin addresses being exchanged. But then one message stopped me completely. Someone had typed, "Is the package still breathing?" And another user replied, "Confirmed. Package is healthy. Delivery guaranteed within 48 hours." My hands went completely cold. Package, breathing, healthy, delivery. These were not words describing a product. These were words describing a person. I sat frozen for what felt like forever. The rational part of my brain was screaming that this could be fake. That this was probably just some twisted roleplay forum. That normal people do not actually do things like this. But then the timer hit 0. The page refreshed. And a live video feed appeared. I will not describe in detail what I saw. But I will tell you this, it was a small room. Concrete walls. One dim light hanging from the ceiling. And in the corner of that room there was a person. Sitting on the floor. Hands tied. Head down. I slammed my laptop shut so hard the table shook. I sat in complete silence for 3 minutes. My heart was pounding so loudly I could hear it in my ears. My entire body was shaking. I wanted to believe I had imagined it. That my eyes were playing tricks on me. That it was just a very realistic movie set or a stage performance. But the way that person was sitting. The way their shoulders were moving slowly up and down. The concrete walls. The single hanging light. Nothing about it looked fake. I opened my laptop again. The website was gone. The address led to a blank page. Like it had never existed. I called the FBI tip line that same night. I told them everything I could remember. The website address, the chat messages, the video feed. The person on the other end listened quietly and told me they would look into it. I never heard back from them. 4 weeks after that night, I kept checking missing persons websites. Kept looking for any news story that matched what I had seen. I found nothing. No leads. No answers. But here is the thing that scares me the most. The thing that still wakes me up at 3 in the morning sometimes. That website had user accounts, registered members, people who knew exactly where to go and when to show up, people who had done this before, people who were still out there. And somewhere out there, that auction had a winner. 6 months later, I was talking to a cybersecurity expert at a conference. Without giving too many details, I described what I had seen. His expression changed immediately. He told me quietly, "What you are describing sounds like a Red Room adjacent operation. These are extremely rare, but they do exist. Most are scams targeting curious dark web users. But some," he paused, "some are not scams." He told me that law enforcement agencies around the world are aware of these operations, but shutting them down is nearly impossible. The moment one site goes dark, 3 more appear somewhere else. The people running these operations are professionals. They leave no traces. They use encrypted servers in countries with no extradition treaties. He then looked at me very seriously and said, "You need to understand something, Ethan. The fact that you saw that feed and then closed your laptop, that was the best decision you ever made. Because some people who stay on those sites longer than they should, they stop being viewers, and they start becoming participants, whether they want to or not." I did not sleep that night either. I am sharing this story today because people need to understand that the dark web is not an adventure. It is not a game. It is not something you explore out of boredom on a Wednesday night. Real people are affected. Real lives are destroyed. If you want to hear more real and disturbing dark web stories that most people are too afraid to talk about, subscribe to this channel right now and hit the bell icon. Because the next story I am about to share with you involves someone who did not close their laptop in time.